Hi guys, my name is Precious and you're welcome to my kitchen. In this episode of Precious Kitchen, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make fish in batter. It's like my favorite fish snack, seriously. It's fish that is dipped in a batter, then deep fried. It is crunchy on the outside, moist and nice on the inside. It is savory, it is so delicious. So I'm going to show you the ingredients we need. This is basically something I learned in my food and nutrition class back in my secondary school days. So these are the ingredients we need. We need fish, of course, and I don't know the name of this fish, but if I were to, because this fish was given to me by my brother-in-law as a gift, it is a wild-caught fish which is really tasty. If I were to buy fish from the market, I'll probably go with mackerel, because that's what I've been used to from yeah. So you need two medium-sized fish. I already cut one and I left one so you guys could see. And this is the cut version, which has to be thinly cut. Now for that nice savory, really tasty batter, you need herbs, spices. So I have 2 sprigs of cilantro here. You could use parsley if you want, 1 stem of green onion, about half a stem of celery. Then I have 4 cloves of garlic, half an inch of ginger that I've peeled and I've cut, then 1 Maggi cube, about a quarter of a medium onion. Then for the batter, I have a cup of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder. Then I have some salt and some water. Let's start cooking. So to start off, I'm making my marinade, which is also going to double as the seasoning for the batter. I just love going with one mixture for the marinade and for the batter. So I'm putting in my garlic, my ginger, and I'm just cutting and putting in my herbs. Now I'll chop the onions and put them in. Then now that I have everything in there, my Maggi. I like adding my Maggi cube in here just so it makes this really nice and good when I'm blending everything. Now I'm just going to add in a little bit of water, probably about 2 tablespoons, because I don't want this to be really watery. If I were back home, I'm going to probably grind these on the grinding stone, because then I don't have to add any water. Now blend. It is perfect. Look at that. Smells amazing. Okay, now that the marinade is all ready, I'm going to go ahead and cut my other fish. So for the fish, you want to make sure that you use a really sharp knife. So I'm going to be going with like a knife that is sharper than that one, because you want your cuts to be as accurate as possible. So before I begin to cut the fish, I'm just using my kitchen shears here to trim off the fins and every other thing, because we don't need these on our fish. Now for fish in batter, you could use fish like this with all the bones on top, or you could use fish fillet, if you don't want any fish with bones. But I'm just showing you guys the way I had it when I was young. Then you just trim this, not everything, but as tight as possible. Okay, I'm not bothering about trimming this because I'm going to be cutting off the head. I don't need the head in here. So cut off the head. We don't need you, boo. Now we are going to cut these as thinly as possible, because if you cut your fish too thick, they are not going to cook properly. Yeah, so you want to cut them as thinly as possible. So like so. This will probably give me about 8 pieces of fish, like so, like so. And the last one, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Yeah, 7. The other one gave me 8, so let's say 7 to 8 pieces of fish. So I'm just taking out the all the nyama nyama things. All the entrails from the belly of the fish, because we don't need that, right? They are yucky, they're not yummy. So I'm just taking those out. Okay, I'm going to thoroughly rinse my fish now and add it to the other one. Now this is my fish which I've drained. I've also patted dry with a paper towel, because you want to make sure your fish is as dry as possible, even though we're using a wet marinade, you know. So I'm going in there with about a third teaspoon of salt. Then I'm going to take 1 heaping tablespoon of our marinade and put on the fish. Now I'm going to rub this together, so because you want this fish to be really seasoned before the batter goes on top, because we want it extra tasty. You don't want to eat a really tasty batter, then you bite into fish in the middle and it's not as tasty. So you have to marinate that fish, so it should be insanely delicious. Now I'm going to set this aside, and you could do this even and keep overnight, or keep it for an hour or a few hours in the fridge before you make your fish in batter, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just going to set this aside for a few minutes, then let's go ahead and make our batter. Now I'm going to take away just a little, about a quarter of our flour, because we are going to be using this for the fish later on. So for our batter, I'll add in about a quarter teaspoon of salt. Now half a teaspoon of baking powder. Just give that a light mix. Then I'm going back to our marinade. Oh my goodness, I am so happy. Good things are happening here. And by the way, I have my oil already heating up, so once I'm done I can start frying. So that's a tablespoon once again of our marinade. You could add more if you like, but so I'm adding in some water there. It's about half a cup of water. I'll mix. Now if you like heat, like pepper, you could also add in some cayenne pepper or chili pepper or habanero while blending your marinade, or you could just add it in dry, but I'm not going with pepper today. Now some more water, because that's too thick. Look at that. That's like a crepe batter or something, the consistency of like a crepe batter. So we are ready to start frying our fish, but just to let you guys know that this leftover marinade rather, I'm going to put it in a small container and keep in my fridge for use when I'm cooking something else. I like having something like this in the house because I can pour it into a pot of food to make it taste better. Now this is the fun part. Just take a slice of that well marinated fish and dip in the flour that we set aside. Now coating the fish with some flour helps the batter to stick properly to the fish. So now that it's all coated, dipping into my batter. Oh, look at that. And then I put in my heated oil. My oil has been heating for about 5 minutes on high. Then I've turned it to medium heat. So the fish, you don't want the oil too hot, because if it's too hot, the batter is going to get brown and the fish is not cooked on the inside, and we do not want that. So you want to make sure it's at medium so it cooks from inside out. Now let's make another one. Fish goes into flour, and you could use your two hands, so your hand is not so one for wet, one for dry. Fish goes into batter. So I have all my fish in the cooking, just making sure this one has enough space for it. So I normally let it cook for about 10 minutes and I regulate the heat. If I see that it's getting too cold, the oil is getting too cold, I increase the heat. If it's getting too hot, I reduce it, because you want that fish to cook thoroughly. So it's going to cook for about 10 minutes. Halfway through, I'll flip it. I'll show you guys when it's time to flip. Now it's time to flip our fish. Look at that beautiful golden brown color. So I had to increase the heat because I discovered that it was getting too cold. So like I said, keep an eye on it, regulate the heat depending on what quantity of oil and the amount of fish in the oil at one time. So some of them are not quite golden brown yet. I'm going to let those ones cook a little bit more before I flip them. Like this one, I'll turn it back so it cooks on the other side a little bit more. So I flip them to the other side and they cooked for another 5 minutes. In all, they spent about 15 minutes in the oil. So it's time to remove them. I'm going to start with those ones that are much more darker than the other ones. Place on paper towel to absorb excess oil. It's all done. It smells amazing, you guys. I cannot wait to dig in. Can you hear the crunch? It is so good. So good. What's the fly doing here? Summer. The crunch is savory, so tasty. All those flavors are beautiful. The garlic, ginger, and the herbs, they've given it a really nice flavor. And the fish on the inside is equally very tasty. The seasoning is just perfect. I love serving this with some potato fries or plantain fries, semi-ripe plantains. They are my favorite to eat with this. It is so good. This is a really nice snack you can make to enjoy at home, or for guests, or to take to a picnic, or for your kids. If you're concerned about the bones in the fish for kids, I would say go with fish fillet. Don't go with fish with all the bones. You can buy fillet from almost every grocery store depending on where you live. I hope you guys enjoyed spending time with me. For the full recipe, as always, go to my blog preciouscore.com, and you can find a link to the recipe in the description box below. If you liked the video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed to my channel, be sure to take a moment and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my awesome videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.